We recently had a chance to review the negatives and positives of the first generation Moto 360 smartwatch. If you missed that video, feel free to take a look at it in order to more clearly understand the improvements of the second generation Motorola smartwatch we're looking at today. With the first gen smartwatch being such a large success amongst its competitors at the time, we had very high expectations of Motorola with the release of their second gen watch. Similar to the first gen review, we thought it would be best to assess any and all positives and negatives we found with this new watch. We'll start with the positives first. The first would probably have to be the huge range of customizability of so many features of the watch, and the ease with which someone can actually customize their watch to their liking. Motorola has allowed buyers to choose their strap, bezel, case, and style through their Moto Maker feature on their site. In terms of style, the watch now comes in two different sizes, with either a 42mm or a 46mm watch face. Strap customizability will allow buyers to choose from black or brown leather, or go for a slightly more expensive option of a black, silver, or gold metal band. Motorola has also allowed buyers to customize their bezels, again with either black, silver, or gold, and also allows one to choose between a smooth bezel or a micro-knurl patterned bezel, which has a little bit of a rougher texture to it. Finally, one can also customize the colors of the casing of the watch, which is just the round part behind the bezel where all the internal parts of the watch are housed. Again, this comes in black, silver, or gold. In terms of ease, a slightly redesigned casing will allow owners of the Moto 360 to now have much simpler access to the watch band links and separately purchase and switch out watch bands as they like. Second, Motorola definitely didn't disappoint in terms of design and build quality. The second gen Moto 360 feels a lot sturdier, and at the same time a lot more elegant on the wrist. The casing of the watch is very clean, with the only difference from the first generation watch being the location of the sleep and power button, now located at the 2 o'clock position rather than 3 o'clock. We found this location actually has a more natural feel to it. Motorola has also improved the screen resolution on both the 42 and 46mm options, with a 360 by 325 resolution on the smaller 1.37-inch screen and a 360 by 330 resolution on the 1.56-inch screen. The Moto also uses a Gorilla Glass 3 display, which provides strength and helps prevent scratches to the glass. Finally, Motorola seems to have made strides in improving battery life of the Moto 360. The 42mm version has a 300 mAh battery, and the 46mm watch has a 400 mAh battery. While the first generation watch did sport a 320 mAh battery, it was less efficient. Now, we commented in our review of the first gen watch that its battery life, which was a day or two max, wasn't the worst among its competition. But that's only if you had ambient mode off, which was a little frustrating since the watch wouldn't be on all the time, and you'd have to manually turn it on to see the time, either through tapping the screen or through wrist gestures. If ambient mode was on with the first gen watch, the battery usually wouldn't last you the whole day. Now, after having had the second gen watch for a little while, we've seen that we can get up to 3 days of use if ambient mode is off, but more importantly, we found that we can pretty easily get a day of use with ambient mode on, which is great because it allows for much more convenience in terms of always having a time displayed on your watch, so you don't have to rely on turning on the watch face just to see the time. Sure, the ambient mode is a little darker, so you may have a little difficulty being able to see the time if you're outside in broad daylight, but indoors, you can definitely always see the time with ambient mode on. In terms of any negatives of the watch, Motorola has certainly done a good job limiting those, but we found that there still are some improvements to be made in future versions of this watch. While Motorola has moved to a much improved Snapdragon processor in this second gen watch, we found that it still lags at times. Sure, it's not as often as its predecessor, but there is some room for improvement. It's important to note that it may just be that the Android Wear software is to blame, since we found that there is similar lag and sluggishness at times with other watches that utilize the Android Wear software. The second negative of this watch is its price. Yes, there are improvements over the first gen Moto 360, but are they worth a huge jump in price? The 42mm watch is $379 Canadian, and the 46mm option is $429. These are just the leather band options. Metal bands will cost an additional $70. Compare this to the $279 release price for the first gen watch, and you're looking at a $100 increase in release price. Of course, as we mentioned in our review of the first gen watch, that one is much cheaper now at $199 Canadian. So overall, the new Moto 360 is definitely a step up from the first generation smartwatch. It sports improvements in display, battery, design, and customizability, as well as overall function. But to get all these, you'd have to be willing to lay down around $400 to $500 Canadian. To us, while the improvements obviously make this a desirable watch, we'd rather wait until a more polished product is released before we start sporting smartwatches on a daily basis. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to stay tuned for upcoming videos where we will continue to review other tech products and introduce a new line of videos exploring technology's impact on modern science. Please don't forget to like our video, comment and give any suggestions, and click to subscribe.